Management forced us to sign NDAs after the 2021 incident. They said it was for our own protection, but I've been in security for 23 years. I know when someone's covering their tracks. Asterisk, that was Marcus Chen, former head of security at Skinwalker Ranch, speaking on condition of anonymity. What he witnessed that night would challenge everything we think we know about one of America's most mysterious locations. For decades, Skinwalker Ranch has captured public imagination: UFO sightings, cattle mutilations, unexplained phenomena. But what if the real story isn't written in the stars, it's buried in government filing cabinets? The Navajo Nation has stories about this land that stretch back centuries. Traditional accounts speak of forbidden places where the natural order breaks down, where medicine men who violated sacred laws were banished to wander as shapeshifter skinwalkers. These weren't tales of alien visitors or interdimensional portals. They were warnings about corruption, about power misused. But military documents tell a different story entirely. In 1952, Project Blue Book classified the Annetta Basin as a zone of unusual electromagnetic activity. By 1967, the Army Corps of Engineers had conducted 17 separate soil surveys across the ranch property. The official reason: mineral assessment for potential mining operations. Yet no mining ever occurred. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. While researching cattle disease outbreaks, our team discovered a 1934 USDA report buried in the National Archives. The document describes livestock mutilations across southeastern Utah: surgical precision cuts, organs removed with clinical accuracy, no signs of predator activity. The patterns were identical to modern Skinwalker Ranch incidents, down to the millimeter dot. This wasn't paranormal activity, it was a practice run. Dr. Sarah Tsosie, a cultural anthropologist and member of the Navajo Nation, has spent years documenting the intersection of indigenous knowledge and government secrecy. This land was sacred long before Skinwalker became a brand. My grandmother's grandmother knew these stories. She knew why certain places were forbidden. It wasn't about monsters, it was about what happens when you treat the sacred as expendable. Experiments Dr. Tsosie references become clear when you examine the paper trail. Between 1978 and 1985, the Department of Defense allocated $47 million to atmospheric research in the Uinta Basin. The funding came through a black budget program called Project Stargate, officially focused on psychic phenomena, but with curious ties to biological warfare research. Robert Ronson worked as a radiation safety officer for the Army's Chemical Biological Defense Command during the 1980s. His security clearance was revoked after he questioned protocols at a Utah test site. Today, he's willing to speak. The radiation signatures we're seeing at Skinwalker Ranch, they match exactly what we used in the 1980s Army bioweapon tests. Specific isotopes, specific decay patterns. You can't fake that kind of fingerprint. According to Ronson's testimony, the military conducted atmospheric dispersion tests using radioactive tracers to map how biological agents might spread across populated areas. The Uinta Basin was chosen for its isolation and unique weather patterns, but the tests weren't just about mapping. They were about effects. Declassified memos from 1983 referenced subject population response studies and environmental persistence protocols. The language is bureaucratic, but the implications are clear. They were studying how exposure affected both livestock and human populations. The cattle mutilations weren't random. They were sample collections, tissue analysis to measure contamination levels, organ removal to study biological accumulation. The surgical precision wasn't otherworldly, it was medical. By 1987, the program was shuttered. Too many questions, too many leaks. The ranch was sold to private buyers, who later sold to billionaire Robert Bigelow. The transition from military testing ground to paranormal research facility was seamless. The genius of the cover-up wasn't in hiding the truth, it was in making the truth sound impossible. Transform classified weapons testing into alien encounters, turn radiation sickness into supernatural phenomena, make scientific inquiry sound like conspiracy theory today. Skinwalker Ranch is owned by Brandon Fugel, a tech entrepreneur who's turned the property into a reality TV show. Cameras capture every strange occurrence, every unexplained reading, every mysterious event. But they're not capturing the real story. The real story is in the medical records of ranchers who lived downwind in the 1980s. It's in the cancer clusters that developed 10 years later. It's in the soil samples that still test positive for isotopes that shouldn't exist in nature. The truth about Skinwalker Ranch isn't paranormal. It's not interdimensional. It's not alien. It's painful, tragically human. It's about what happens when a government decides that some places and some people are expendable in the name of national security. Next week, we'll reveal the names of the officials who authorized these tests. We'll show you the documents that prove the cover-up continues today. And we'll let you hear from the families who are still paying the price. The truth isn't out there. It's right here, buried in plain sight. Subscribe for part 2.